So Rishi Sunak set out 5 pledges. That is the thing that I want to share with you, and then say, what do you think? That's the thing. What do you think? 5 pledges. He wants to halve inflation, which is not a million miles away from what the Bank of England say is going to happen anyway. So it's a bit like me saying, I'm going to make 5 pledges to you. And the first pledge is, I will have 1 million listeners this year on this radio programme. I'd like to pledge that. Actually, no, let's go high. Let's go 1.2. What are we on at the moment, Keith? 1.3. Over 1.3. Yeah, I pledge to you I will have 1.2 million listeners on this programme this year. Could be heading for menacing for a penancing there. Yeah, exactly. Cruising for a bruising on that one. But do you see what I mean? So pledge number 1 is an odd pledge because it's widely regarded that it's well within reach anyway, and it will be entirely dependent, according to my appalling understanding of these matters, widely dependent on international issues, on whether or not there's another massive hit to the global economy. There are other areas as well. But he set his stall out yesterday, and Keir Starmer is setting his stall out today. We may have a little look at where the differences lie, but we're going to begin by focusing upon Rishi Sunak and my growing sense that he is, I mean, I don't want to be rude, but he's a puff of smoke, isn't he? There's nothing to him at all. He's I don't know what he is. He's like an AI politician or a supply teacher who is desperate for the kids to treat him like a friend, not a teacher, yeah? I just don't get it. And here's part of the reason why.
5 promises. We will halve inflation, grow the economy, reduce debt, cut waiting lists and stop the boats. Those are the people's priorities. They are your government's priorities, and we will either have achieved them or not. No tricks, no ambiguity. We're either delivering for you or we're not. We will rebuild trust in politics through action or not at all. So I ask you to judge us on the effort that we put in and the results that we achieve.
I think it's clever in essence to essentially say, here are 5 things, some of which are achievable, some of which are almost inevitable, and some of which are unlikely to happen, and to pretend that those are the most important things facing the country. Because I would put it to you that it's possible a decent pay settlement for our nurses is a higher priority for you than some of the things that he's mentioned, possibly even a higher priority than waiting lists. And of course, if you reduce waiting lists, it doesn't necessarily have any impact at all upon how long it will take for an ambulance to arrive. Yeah, that's a good one as well. I haven't pinned it down yet. I think my supply teacher analogy is good, but it's not perfect. This texter suggests he sounds like a bad vicar, which Tony Blair was often. Well, actually, Tony Blair was often accused of being quite a good vicar, or sounding like a good vicar, having that slightly holier than thou demeanour. I don't think he's right. And this is going to be the question. So there's 3 things up and running already on the programme. The first is an invitation to join me in somehow knitting together the fact that the highest paid people in the country, or no, the heads of the 100 biggest companies on the London Stock Exchange are, by 2 o'clock, by the time Sheila Fogarty's got into her stride today, they're going to have earned more than the average worker in this country will have worked today, while Rishi Sunak is addressing the strike issue. That might be a side salad this morning. But the main question is this. Rishi Sunak's just told you what your top priorities are. I want to know whether he's right. And I want you to tell me on 0345 6060 973. I've already done the Will from the Inbetweeners line. He is a little bit like Will from the Inbetweeners line, but Will was essentially quite likeable, wasn't he? In some way, eventually. Yeah. Anyway, maybe Rishi Sunak is as well. But he's told you what your top priorities for this country are, and I don't think you'll. Well, I wonder whether you agree with him. Growth, as we saw under Liz Truss, can mean a million different things. Inflation is something that the Bank of England has already suggested is likely to plummet this year, and that, as I've mentioned, is going to be dependent largely on global matters and global factors. So not a great deal, especially with an independent Bank of England, there's not a great deal that Rishi Sunak can do about that. So that looks to me like lining up a lap of honour for essentially observing the rules of gravity We'll look at the other stuff. The boats, I'm interested in the boats, but I mean, you could stop the boats coming right now. You just open a processing centre in Calais, like the French have invited and offered on many, many occasions. But the problem with that is that the Conservatives know that lots of applications would be accepted. And that would involve all the people coming here now on small boats, coming here under perfectly legal routes, and the numbers wouldn't change much. And the racists would hate it. The racists who currently pretend that it's illegal immigration they're cross about, rather than just foreigners coming here, would be equally furious. So that, I don't know that is one of your priorities particularly, because if it was, you'd be in favour of opening up processing centres in Calais and elsewhere so that refugees and asylum seekers could be assessed properly before coming here. And we'll have a look at the others as well. But there it is. Rishi Sunak has decided what your top priorities are. He has spoken. He has handed down his judgment. He's come down from the mountain with the tablets of stone. Is he right? Are they your top priorities? And if not, what is? Hit the numbers now. You will get through. 0345 6060 973. And prove me wrong as well, because I haven't offered up a particularly pungent opinion, which historically means you're less likely to ring me. Take that, if you sometimes sit there wondering whether or not you can be bothered, take that as a call to arms. I really, really want to know what you think about this. And you can tell me on 0345 6060 973.